Welcome to the first episode of Twin Tiers Keto. My name is Chris, and I am a type 2 diabetic. I have been diagnosed with diabetes since I was 30, so that was 15 years ago now. For the first 14 years of that, I was taking insulin shots every day, sometimes as many as 4 or 5 in a day. But I was never really controlling the diabetes well. I kept gaining weight. I kept trying to lose weight. I tried diets and went through the whole yo-yo kind of routine that people go through with dieting. But a year and a half ago, that changed. I kind of stumbled onto something that really changed my life. A friend of mine wanted to test a website idea that he had, and we decided we would use weight loss as a way to test this out. And we started doing a lot of research. And the first bit of research that we came across, primarily through TED Talks, was regarding inflammation. That the foods that we eat quite often can lead to inflammation. That leads to problems with our weight. And so the author of the talk, the speaker, suggested a number of foods that were considered safe to eat, that could reduce the inflammation in your body. This included things like leafy green vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, but also meats like beef and pork, lamb, any of the ruminants, were good. And then healthy fats like butter, coconut oil, avocados, avocado oil, olive oil. These things were all good. If you needed sweeteners, stevia or monk fruit were okay sweeteners to use. So we tried that for a couple of weeks, and one of the things I realized in that was there were almost no carbohydrates in that diet. I was, as a diabetic, told I had to eat a minimum amount of carbohydrate because I was taking insulin. So if I'm not eating carbohydrate, I had to stop taking the insulin. And I found that out quickly the first day. After that first day, no more insulin. Now, my blood sugars weren't like magically in line at that point. In fact, they rose quite a bit. I was in, I think, the 130s or 140s consistently for a while. But it did come down. Now I'm in the 90s, pretty much. Sometimes even in the 80s when I do my blood sugar test in the morning. So this not having the carbohydrates was kind of a revelation. But if you're not getting your energy from carbohydrates, where are you getting the energy from? So your body can get energy from multiple sources, right? Your body can convert extra protein, for example, into glucose through the liver. It's a process called gluconeogenesis. But there's a third possibility that you always hear about when you're dieting, but never really understand. And that's fat. We're always talking about wanting to burn off the fat when we're dieting. For me, that became a reality because fat became the primary source of fuel for my body. And this woke up my mind. I didn't realize how much of a fog I was in, even to begin with. But as soon as the blood sugars dropped, and with it the insulin levels dropping, that allowed my body to start using fat for fuel. It started that process of weight loss that I had been looking for so long. But I did it while eating foods that I love. Now, yes, it was hard to get rid of the bread and the pasta and the potatoes and the fruit. I am and probably always will be a sugar addict. It is an addiction, but it's one that can be broken, but you have to really, really want it. And I did want it. I have seen firsthand what happens to people long term with diabetes that isn't well controlled. The problems with the kidneys and the dialysis, the amputations, the loss of feeling in their feet and limbs and hands. I don't want that to be me. I want to have a long, happy, and healthy life. So I have a very strong reason to break that addiction to sugar. So I did. And within 2 or 3 weeks, and it does take time to break that addiction and for the body to start to turn over. But my energy levels went through the roof. My attention span, my ability to focus became sharper. I was able to learn new things, have the energy to do more than I had. I became like a sponge, just soaking up information anywhere I could find it. And that's where I found out really what this was called. And this is called the ketogenic diet. Although for me it's no longer a diet. This is something that I'll be doing forever, as far as I know. Because I'm healthier than I've ever been, and for me it's sustainable. And that's one of the problems with diets as we know them. They're not sustainable. You get some momentary weight loss and then you end up gaining everything back. But that hasn't been the case for me. I've been maintaining now for a year. So it's good. It can be done. I've talked with people that have been doing this for years and years. So once you've broken that sugar addiction, and your body starts to transform into a fat-burning machine, you start to reap the benefits. Now, I have to say that every person is unique. Their bodies work in slightly different ways from everybody else. So, where I may have been losing half a pound a day for a while, that may not be typical for everybody else. I've seen people who have lost more than that, like maybe a pound a day. And I've seen people that have say maybe they've only lost a pound a week or a pound every 2 weeks. What they've all had in common though is that even at times where the weight doesn't seem to be moving, the body is still changing. The scale is not what defines us. It's how we feel and how healthy we're getting. So, in the last year, I have lost 50 pounds. My triglycerides have come down into well below the good range, where they should be. My blood pressure has come down without medication. I no longer take medications of any kind for cholesterol, blood pressure, or diabetes. No insulin, no metformin. I did this because I was able to stick to, without cheating for the most part. Everybody has some lapses here and there. But this low carb, moderate protein, high fat ketogenic diet has pretty much saved my life. And it's my goal to go through my journey as part of these videos to explain what I've learned along the way. What things have worked for me, what things haven't worked for me. I'd also like to have some question and answer time. So if you do have any questions, my email address is at the bottom of the website. Just send me an email with your question and I'll try and answer it in the next video. We also have started a Facebook group. It's a private group called Twin Tiers Keto. And if you would like to learn more and interact with a very small community right now, but have more immediate feedback to questions, send me a message on Facebook, and if we're friends, I'll add you in. So I'd like to thank you for watching this first episode. I will see you next week.